Well, good morning. So yesterday, jeez. Well, yesterday, busy day. So I thought I would just share something that I thought was really common. A Taoist parable. It's from the movie Charlie Wilson's War. So it's for that reason I assumed it was more well known. I had a really hard time finding it though, particularly in English. So the parable is called Maybe So, Maybe Not, We'll See. And as the story goes, this villager had a young man for his son he was very proud of. And he got his son a horse. And the village said, "Oh, isn't that lovely?" And blah, blah, blah. And he said, "Oh, maybe so. Maybe not. We'll see." So the horse ran away, and the villagers said, "Oh, how awful." And the farmer said, "Maybe not. Maybe so. We'll see." And then when the horse came back with some wild mares following, the villagers said, "Oh, how wonderful." And the farmer said, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." And then when the boy was out riding his horse, he fell and broke his leg. And the villagers said, "Oh, how horrible." And the farmer said, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." Then the army came to town, looking for all the able young men. And the farmer's son being laid up with his broken leg, the farmer said, "Oh, how lucky." And the farmer said, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." So the story teaches us something that's present absolutely within just about almost everything at this point. So I talk a lot about Emerson, I talk a lot about Walt Whitman, Nietzsche, Jung, William James, all these transcendental philosophers, psychologists, looking for a solution for us to manage life's vacillations. Funny I say that, eh? The reason why I say that is recently my favorite English word, vicissitudes, has come into the spotlight since it is from the French and Latin, vicissitudo. But it goes back to vicis, change, alternation, right? That's life. Yesterday and the last time, months ago, I talked about Nietzsche's eternal return, Camus embracing the absurd. What does this have to do with the Upanishads, with the Bhagavad Gita, with Buddhism, with Jainism, with the Yoga Sutras? What does it have to do with maybe so, maybe not? We'll see. Well, in Sanskrit, it's Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Why is this important? Because, well, it's within the Upanishads, the Isha Upanishads, in fact, one of the first, most influential, shortest of the Upanishads, the Gitas. There's more than one Gita that speaks to this, but the Bhagavad Gita certainly, I think, is very clear. So are the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. This idea that Chitta, which is consciousness, separate from mind, which is manas, the physical. So Chitta is consciousness. This is the emergent self, the nascent self, that which we can't put a label to or itemize, quantify, the self, consciousness. Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Now, I've talked a little bit about Nirodha recently because it was appropriated by some of these fake gurus to say that it was cessation in the sense that to completely cease, in their opinion it was to breathe. When, if you had had any sort of teachings from someone with a background in Sanskrit or the Yoga Sutras or the Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita, they would tell you that Chitta Vritti Nirodha speaks to ceasing, but ceasing the fluctuations of the mind, Vritti. So Chitta Vritti Nirodha is to calm the monkey mind, to calm the vacillations of the mind. So, maybe not, we'll see, is exactly the same. It's Jung's modern man who unburdens himself of tradition, of baggage, and stands clean, new, stands at the edge of a void, emptiness, shunya, shunyata, which is also symbolized by the circle, this potentiality. And that's what Jung said was the true modern man, carving his own path. Nietzsche asked us to carve for ourselves our own path, using the Übermensch as our guide. Emerson asked us to go out into nature and to see providence, wherever it may be. Walt Whitman has even been endowed with a certain spirituality of his own, all based on this oversoul that goes back to very likely the translation that all of these gentlemen used, reading the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And within it, this Chitta Vritti Nirodha is the eternal return, right? Because as the Isha Upanishad says, if a man, a person, a being, can carry himself in such a way, in the sense of the eternal return, or to be unbothered by the fluctuations of samsara, one may actually live 100 years. This is an idea of being unburdened by the suffering of life. You're able to live, a tremendous amount of time. Well, on that note, I guess we'll leave it. I just wanted to share that Taoist parable. It's no different than Charles Sanders Peirce, great American polymath, who said that the first rule of logic is to have a good sense of doubt. And I've said this over and over again, that that's what psychologists and economics have pointed to. Humans are terrible forecasters. But what is funny is we've seen super forecasters. These people who are able to forecast into the future reliably. What we found is many of them have a great sense of doubt, even in their certainty. And that may be the secret. Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see.